All right, so the poll results are in. So we have a winner for this month's sticker on Patreon. The winner was Alice. We are gonna make an Alice sticker, and I'm gonna show you guys the steps that I do on my iPad before I submit the file to production. So first of all, I have a little swatch that kind of shows me all the sticker colors in the holographic version of the stickers, because you know the supplier has all kinds of different materials like matte or sparkly or glitter and things like that, but I just like the holographic and that's what I usually use. And so I have the artwork for Alice pulled up on my iPad, and then what I do is I just spend a couple minutes and I really look at the colors on the swatch and then the color of the artwork and decide what kind of vibes I want the sticker to give off. And for this case, you know, Alice's color palette is mostly blues and yellows. And so I already know that I'm definitely gonna pick some of the colors from the blue section or the yellow section for the specific holographic details. But what I need to decide on also is the background color for her. And so I don't know how to do this thinking out loud. So let's just do a time lapse of me staring this for like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna tell you guys my thoughts on it. Okay, so I think I made a decision. My thought process was that I really wanted to show off some of these really pretty yellow holographic colors in her hair. And then obviously we're gonna have the white holographic details, such as the sparkle in her eye, and then some of her, like she has pearl earrings, so her pearl earrings gonna be white too. I always do white holographic details, so whatever detail can be white, I kind of add those. So I'm also gonna add the white flowers in her skirt in that area. And the last question, but the most important question, is which blues am I gonna pick, because Alice has such pretty blue colors in her outfit and her palette. So these are kind of my options. And my thoughts were that this color palette on this artwork is not very bright blue. So some of my stickers have very bright blue holographics, such as Jasmine. So here's an example of the bright blue holographic for Jasmine's background, which is super pretty, but for Alice, I wanted to have something a little more subtle. So this blue here on the bottom is the one I think I'm gonna go with, and I'm gonna add that into the background. And then for some tiny details in her dress, such as the little flower on her cup, I will also go with that same blue so that it matches. And I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna add like a darker blue in for her line art. We'll kind of see that as we go, but that's just the base idea that I came up with. And what I'm gonna do next is this artwork is imported in Procreate as its own layer, and I'm gonna add a couple layers on top of the file, and I'm just gonna use a very clean brush and the selection tool and select all the areas that I want a specific color to be. So I'm going to select areas for the white holographic, I'm going to select areas for the blue, the yellow, and make sure that all those details are on their own layer. And then that is what I'm going to submit for production. So I'm going to do a little time lapse here, show you guys what it looks like when I select those areas, and then we can go from there. So here I'm showing you guys how clean the brush is that I will use for blocking these details. It's very just bulky and has clean edges, so that, you know, there's no texture in this brush, so that's very helpful. And I just downloaded it for free on some website, but Patreon, Procreate has lots of brushes that have just very clean details, mostly in the airbrush section. So here I am just blocking in all the areas that I want to appear white holographic, like more like silver white, and for example the buttons. So I'm just circling it and then color dropping the white in the middle of it, and this is all done in a separate layer so that all of these white details will be separated from the rest of the artwork. And although on the original artwork I had some of these things in separate layers, I found that it's just so much more work to actually
find the exact layers that have exact details and crop them, and then merge the layers with the actual layer, and you can just get into the weeds of layers and get confused. So since then, what I've been doing is just having an artwork on a separate layer, and then on the new layers I just block in the colors. And this also gives me just a very clean mental approach and an overview of the whole artwork, instead of trying to figure out the layers, and that just kind of causes a mental clutter in my mind. So that is why I'm showing you guys this method, and it worked for me pretty well. So as you can see, I selected some details on the bracelet to have white holographic, specifically the little beads, and now here you see all the little white details are what will be the white holographic, and I just lowered the opacity of the artwork underneath it so I can see better. And I am looking at the holographic now to decide finally which blue I'm gonna use. And then I am starting to block off some blue details that I want to be holographic. For example, on this flower, I thought that it would look cute if it had some shiny outlines on the flower petals. And then also the flower petals in her tea, I wanted to have some highlights, so that's why they are also getting blocked off. And then of course on her jewelry, her watch has an outline, so that will be blue as well. And in her eye, I just wanted to add a little blue sparkle, so that is also what I'm drawing in there. But you know, you can go wild with your creativity in this. And I also always make my signature holographic, but not my written signature. I remove that, and then I just have a little signature that's clear to read, because the sticker is gonna be tiny, so I don't want this to not be readable, but also I don't want it to be too visible, so I just make it small. And then the tea bag, you can see I also made blue. But now we're getting into the yellow details, and for this I use the selection tool, because I am just making kind of new lines in the hair. These details weren't on the original artwork, but I want some of the sections of the hair to just have some of these holographic highlights, and I think it's gonna look super cute. And so I do this for some of my princesses, and you can see how I select those areas. And then also the middle of the flower will be yellow, so I'm adding these yellow little dots for that. And then her nails, of course, have the yellow nail polish, so we had to make that holographic, as you can see. And now all the yellow and white and blue details are blocked off, so you can see all the layers here.
So the Ellie sticker arrived in the mail, and she looks so gorgeous. I am so thrilled to show you guys. And who's ready to see? She turned out so beautiful. So you remember we did extra holographic details for her hair streaks and little whites on her jewelry, and I actually ended up, after I recorded my time-lapse, adding some extra holographic details for the flowers on her skirt. Alright, who's ready to see? And ta-da! Oh my gosh, I just think she turned out so gorgeous. So it is hard to see some of the details, but you can see all the flowers on her skirt are holographic, kind of the little details on her nails, and bracelet is shining. The flower is definitely shiny on the cup. Her buttons are holographic. You can see it right there. So this is how the sticker turned out. I am completely, amazingly so happy. That was a weird sentence. I'm actually packing up Patreon Happy Mail right now. So I just did all the addresses on the envelopes, and I have the little cards out. So I will write the cards for all my patrons, and each of them will get a sticker. And that is the end of our little demonstration of how I make Patreon Happy Mail from start to finish. So make sure to watch part 1 if you haven't yet. In part 1, I show you guys the exact detailed packaging process and tell you more details about my strategy for how I organize Happy Mail throughout the month, package and send them out the first week of the month. The second week is when I design the sticker and do the poll and the voting, and then the third and the fourth week is when the sticker arrives. Hope that was helpful. You guys are amazing for tagging along, watching my videos. It means the world to me, and I would love to see you subscribe. Also, please let me know in the comments if you have any further questions on this process, and if you're starting your Patreon, I would love to check out your art account on Instagram and be friends, so we can motivate each other and cheer each other on. All right, bye, see you next week.